Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football TITTH number 95. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. We got some great guests today, Imran Khan and Matt Miller with the DraftScout.com. What's up, guys?
What's going on, Justin? What's going on, Matt?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you coming aboard, sir. What's going on? Imran, you want to go ahead and introduce Matt, kind of go over your history together? You guys have known each other a little bit here?
Yeah, so I was telling Matt over email a couple days ago. I can't believe it's been like 2.5 years already. But I was into a couple of scouting classes with Matt back in the summer of 2018. So I got a lot of valuable info. And who knew? 2.5 years later, I get a chance to have him as a guest on our show. So it's really awesome. For those of you that don't know, Matt's been doing a lot of great NFL draft coverage, just overall football coverage for the last forever. It feels like at Bleacher Report, and over the last couple of months, he started off new venture, which I'm super excited about. I'm already subscribed as a member. So Matt, with that being said, please tell us about this new journey you're on.
Yeah, man, it's good to hear from you again. And you're right, forever. 10 years of Bleacher Report, which is a long time in sports media, and decided this past summer 2020 that it was time to do something different, that I was excited to build something, because folks who might remember my journey from before Bleacher Report, that was kind of how I got started. Was I built my own thing and then went to Bleacher Report to do draft coverage there. So I'm excited for the DraftScout.com. Like you said, it's a membership service, but hopefully you're finding that it's worth your $7 a month, and the articles haven't started yet. So we're doing a lot of fun stuff, Zoom happy hour, scouting clinics. There's a Discord server that is like 500 people are in there most of the day talking about football, and also doing live mock drafts. So if you're a member, you can throw your hat in to be a general manager. We're going to do an actual live draft where the GM, if Imran gets to be the Bears, maybe he'll be the GM of the Bears, and he'll actually go on the clock live, at pick 18, wherever you guys are in round one. And so I'm excited for that. I love the idea of building communities. My podcast that I was doing at Bleacher Report, Stick to Football, that's what we really tried to do there, was build communities where, and some of that we're going to continue to do with tailgate tours, brewery takeovers. And as soon as we can safely get back out in the world, we'll be doing that. Boulevard Brewing Company is a huge sponsor of what I'm doing. So there's going to be a lot of free beers handed out in the near future, hopefully.
Let's go. That's awesome. Yeah, we're really excited for post-COVID and being able to take off after that. We were really pumped about it, the beginning of the year. And, once that midsummer hit, it was just a huge question mark. So we're looking forward to doing a lot of the same. That's awesome, man. That's a great story. What's been like your biggest challenge so far making that transition, from, being behind like a big brand like that, and then, diving into creating your own thing again?
Yeah, it's only been 10 days. And so a lot of the first couple of days were, would anyone click on that link and sign up? Because you're going from, not behind the scenes, but going somewhere where you're a salaried employee with benefits and health insurance and all the things you need as an adult, to I'm going to go work for myself. And not only am I going to work for myself, I'm going to build something from the ground up. So that caused, I'm not an anxious person, but there were a lot of long sleepless nights. And you would think that, like with Twitter and social media, it would be really easy to get your company in front of people. That has actually been the biggest challenge. I still have people hit me up, be like, when are you going to publish another article of Bleacher Report? I'm like, well, I'm not actually. And so even though it's been months since I announced I was leaving, and it's been, it's been 10 days since I announced the new site. So I'm super appreciative of the support that's already been out there. A lot of people have signed up, which is amazing to see. It's allowing me to relax a little bit. That is still the hardest part, which is why I'm basically doing a media tour nonstop lately, is just trying to get the word out for people who maybe missed a tweet or who don't follow me, haven't heard of me. So I'm excited though to start over and truly build something the way I want it to be built.
That's awesome, man. That's great. And the part that I love about it, you're just betting on yourself, right? And those anxious nights, they're probably going to be consistent, but eventually, that sleep's going to get better and better. And I absolutely love it. So,
right. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think I'm going to jump into this first round here.
Yeah. So, one of the things you wanted to just pick your brain on, Matt, like I mentioned, was if I remember correctly, you're a Niners fan, right?
Sadly, yes, sir. Yep.
Well, you're missing loves company, right? At least you guys got a coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, one of the things Justin and I have been talking about, as pretty much every draft is, right? The quarterbacks get all the love, right? It's always about the quarterbacks, no matter what round they're projected in. So a lot of people think that it's possible that there could be as high as 4 quarterbacks going like in the top 10, the top 8. I know it's still early in the process. We still got, hopefully some semblance of a Senior Bowl and a combine coming up. Do you think that this could live up to that hype? Like we could actually see that many quarterbacks coming off the board? And we're not even talking about guys like, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask.
Yeah, I do. I really do. And I was actually talking earlier today to a scout for a team who doesn't need a quarterback. And he was like, hey, would you please put all 6 of those guys up there so that a good player falls to us? And, I do think 4, though, right? I mean, Jacksonville's going to go Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jets at 2. If I had to do it right now, I'd say the Jets take Zach Wilson. But then you run into teams like, Miami, they're probably good with Tua, right? But Atlanta at 4, Matt Ryan's 35 years old. Detroit at 7, Matthew Stafford's 33. He's been banged up. Carolina at 8, Teddy Bridgewater was pretty average this year. Denver at 9, Drew Lock. Who knows what the future is there, especially with a new GM coming in and George Patton. So, I mean, that's 5 teams in the top 10 who could realistically, we're not even stretching there to try to find a fit for these guys. So, and that's without trades also. So I do think, because we have to look at teams like the 49ers, they could move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, hopefully. The New England Patriots at 15, they could be drafting a quarterback. And you get into, Washington needs a quarterback. Chicago needs a quarterback. Indianapolis is going to need a quarterback in the future. Pittsburgh's going to need a quarterback in the future. So when you really break it down, teams that need a quarterback right now and teams that have a 1 to 2 year need, you can throw the Saints into that mix as well. They're like 13 teams out of 32 that could take a quarterback. So supply versus demand never matches for that position. And I do think that's why we'll see a year with 4 good ones: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, whatever order you want to put those guys in. I think it's very realistic those 4 players go in the top 10.
And so kind of hinting at what that scout mentioned to you, one of the things you were talking on before you joined is that usually when these quarterbacks, get pushed up the board and teams kind of draft for, for need and they reach a little bit, great players that are really talented, just unfortunately they fall down the board. So one of the guys we were actually talking about was Kyle Pitts, Florida, where he's just a great talent, talent-wise, he's probably going to be one of the best in the draft, but based on need and everything, he could potentially fall a little bit, right? Just because
every time I do a mock draft, Kyle Pitts is still on the board way too late, and I'm like, what the hell? This isn't right. Like, what did I mess up? But it's the fact that those quarterbacks and offensive tackles go off the board so early, and some wide receivers, that you find yourself like, okay, there's got to be a fit here in the top 10. There might not be. When you take away the quarterbacks that we just talked about, you feel like Cincinnati's probably going to go offensive tackle. Then where does he fit? If it's not Dallas at 10, which is not a need, it would be a best player available. Then you really start to see him fall down the board a lot, which is unfortunate because I love Kyle Pitts, but he might be on the board at 13 for the Chargers, 14 for the Vikings, 15 the Patriots took 2 last year. I don't know if they could ignore a talent like him, but it really becomes a situation where he might slip, even though, as you said, he was one of the 2 or 3 best players in college football this past year, and he's going to find himself slipping down the board, and that's not even taking into account. We don't exactly know how he's going to test. That was the biggest question on him before the season was how fast is this guy? Because he's not, your traditional inline tight end with a lot of power. How fast is he? I think he answered some of those questions this year. He and Kyle Trask had a bond that was unbreakable, and we saw that in SEC play. But I do think, he's one of the guys, you're absolutely right, where when I do a mock draft, it seems like Kyle Pitts is the one where I almost look and it's like, no. He's got to be off the board earlier than this. And then you run back through it and did I miss something? There's not an obvious landing spot for him, though, in the top 10 when you factor in those other needs.
And I was telling Justin, a worst case scenario would be if he just stays on the board too long and he somehow ends up with the Chiefs. That would be like a nightmare.
Yeah, that would be terrible for everybody involved. I'm from Missouri. I don't need that. I have to deal with the cocky Chiefs fans because of Travis Kelce. Let's not give them Kyle Pitts as well. If he's on the board at 12, maybe the Niners. Pair him up with George Kittle, I'd be okay with that.
That's what I was actually going to ask you is who would you prefer for your Niners to take? Just as a fan, at that 12 spot, let's say one of those quarterbacks is available, versus the rest of the field. Who would you like?
Trevor Lawrence? Can I say that?
Okay, not
no. Okay.
Maybe Trey Lance. Would you take?
I like Trey Lance. I like Trey Lance a lot, and I think that he's almost being disrespected because he didn't play this year. Mm-hmm. And like folks forgot that he rushed for 14 touchdowns, threw 28, and didn't throw a pick last year. And then that one game against Central Arkansas this year, he didn't look great. But it's like, what did you expect? They thought their season was canceled. Right. It's one game. There's a ton going on at that time. I don't really hold that against him. I still think Trey Lance has, outside of Trevor Lawrence, he has the best traits of any of the quarterbacks in this class. He's got the arm strength. He definitely has the running ability. And he's just kind of this moldable clay. And so I think for the Niners, whether Jimmy Garoppolo is back or not, if he's back, okay, you can sit Trey Lance for a year and let him learn. If he's not, then you put Trey out there, and we're talking rookie year Lamar Jackson stuff where let's just have some fun. It's going to be a lot of RPOs. Yeah. You're probably going to run the ball as much as you throw the ball, but that's okay as you learn and acclimate. So I like Trey Lance a lot. I'd be happy with any of the big four quarterbacks. Justin Fields would be good in that scheme, I think, with Kyle Shanahan. Zach Wilson would be a phenomenal scheme fit. But being realistic, if Trey Lance is there, I think that'd be a slam dunk pick for them.
I think it'd be a home run with that outside run that they do. I feel like he would mold right into that perfectly. Being able to run the RPO, run outside. When I watch him on tape, he just pops off like Colin Kaepernick rookie season to me. Like the size, the big boy, the deep ball, the big playability. Like it's all there. And I think that he coming into the league will be better than what we would have expected from like a guy like Kaepernick coming in. So I think he's a home run right there.
And I know one team that gave Trey Lance the same grade they gave Deshaun Watson, and that's actually their comp for him is Deshaun Watson. And the body type's kind of similar, honestly. Like it's not that far off when you look at the metrics. And so I do think with guys like that who opted out, Jamar Chase, Gregory Rousseau, Rashawn Slater and Penny Sewell, their reputation's fine. But I think there's some other guys who opted out that we just forgot about because they got surpassed. Trey Lance, people start talking about Mac Jones and Kyle Wilson and Kyle Trask instead. Jamar Chase, we start talking about Devontae Smith, who definitely deserves the acclaim, but I do think these opt-out guys are going to get a lot more love as soon as I don't think we'll get a combine, unfortunately, but there will be something in the spring. We'll get some type of pre-draft process, whether it's regional combines at training facilities or pro days. There'll be something where these guys will get some love.
And that's one of the things we were going to ask you. You kind of got into it. Like, it may not necessarily be like the most underrated players of the first round, but guys like you mentioned, like opt-outs, like guys that due to like the weirdness and the strangeness we saw last year's college football season, right, that just ended, like, so who may be some other guys that people may just not remember, like who are studs.
Yeah, Jamar Chase is a big one at LSU. He had 20 touchdowns in 2019. He won the Blitnikoff, and Joe Burrow was pretty damn good with him as a connection. Absolutely. I think Caleb Farley at Virginia Tech's one guy that a lot of people have forgotten about, and rightfully so. Patrick Surtain had a great year, but let's not forget who Caleb Farley is. 4 interceptions previous year, 16 passes defensed. He is legitimately fast. I mean, he's exceptional in the open field. I think he might be better than C.J. Henderson, who was the number 9 pick last year. So I really like Caleb Farley. I think he got forgotten about a little bit because the opt-out. Javon Holland is another one at Oregon where the Pac-12 schedule was just like they were playing on like Tuesday nights at midnight and stuff. It was hard to keep track of the Pac-12 guys, but I do like Javon Holland a lot. Pat Freiermuth at Penn State, another one who just such an exceptional player that I think because of Kyle Pitts, we have such a small attention span. And when you start to look at one guy, you kind of forget about others. So those are 3 players I think are legitimate, like solid first-round picks, maybe top 20 picks that just kind of got lost in the shuffle this year.
No, that's great. That's great. And one of the things, Justin, I was also wondering is, one of the things that's kind of evolved in the NFL game, right, is unfortunately that the running back position, right, unfortunately every year it gets devalued because teams keep finding these studs in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, right? Mm-hmm. Is there do we see a guy like Najee Harris maybe go in the first round? Does a team, take him or any other running backs?
Najee would be the only one. And I do think there's a strong possibility just because what he showed as a receiver at Alabama over the last 2 years. And like what he say, he's been catching passes since he was in the fetal position, which is an all-time quote, right? And so I do think Najee has a great chance to go round 1. We're all going to connect him to Pittsburgh. It's just too perfect, right? Let him wear number 32 and look like a young Franco Harris out there. After that, like, I'm not a Travis Etienne guy. I mean, I have him as the number 2 running back, but I'm not such a big fan of his. I love both the North Carolina guys, Javonte Williams and Michael Carter. They kind of cannibalized each other because they had to share reps this year, but I think they're both exceptional. And then there's like some sleepers there. Jamar Jefferson at Oregon State, Khalil Herbert at Vatech, Javian Hawkins at Louisville. players who probably aren't in like the public consciousness right now, where if we had a combine, they would be big names who would blow up. I'm excited to see Michael Carter at the Senior Bowl. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him. And the Senior Bowl is not traditionally a great spot for running backs, but I think he has a big chance to gain some ground 2 weeks when we get down there.
All right, right on. Who do you think our Bears should take? Me and Emron are like really troubled by this. You know, we're seeing quarterback, offensive line, wide receiver. You know,
can we just trade like the draft to Houston and just get Watson like we should have done in 2017?
Maybe we don't have that.
I mean,
we just blow it all up and go out and try to get Watson.
You still have Ryan Pace, who didn't even interview Deshaun Watson, so I don't know that Deshaun would play for him. I think the disrespect runs a little too deep there. That no trade clause is going to get in your way.
True.
It's like if you traded Mitch Trubisky and Adam Shaheen for Deshaun Watson, would that do it? Or is that mean for Bears fans? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
We took Solomon Thomas, so I get it.
Live with it.
Right. I think where you're at 20, that's tough because you're not, as we just said, you're probably not getting a quarterback. You'd have to really talk yourselves into, like, I think there's even a good chance Mac Jones is off the board by there, which is crazy. So you'd have to either talk yourself into Kyle Trask, who's a terrible fit for that offense. I like Kyle. He just has to play within the pocket. So I started to look at other needs. I would really like Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech, left tackle for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
No disrespect to Charles Leno, but you got to get younger at that position, also cheaper. And Darrisaw is a very, very good athlete. So let's say that Matt Nagy turns it around, right? And he's going to be there for the long haul. But even if he's not, everyone wants a Kyle Shanahan protege at this point, or at least somebody who can run that offense. You have to have quickness and athleticism at the left tackle position to do that, to run outside zone. So Darrisaw, I think I commend him for playing this year. He's someone who I don't know that his stock got helped, but he definitely got more exposure. I think he's the third best tackle in this class, ahead of Samuel Cosme, ahead of Dylan Radins, ahead of Alex Leatherwood. So I think if Darrisaw is there at 20, he becomes a really interesting piece. A lot of it hinges on what Allen Robinson does, though, guys.
That's what I was going to ask.
He's gone. You know, is there a chance? Last year we would have never thought that CeeDee Lamb would be available at 18, and he was. So I think it goes to that is, does somehow Jalen Waddle fall to 20 with the injury? Is there, you know, I don't love that tier 2 of wide receiver at 20. I think that's a little bit early. But, you know, you have to talk about, I don't think Kyle Pitts would fall that far, but does Pat Freiermuth enter the conversation? I know you have Cole Kmet, who I think is to be really good, but, you know, we're seeing teams think outside the box with these positions of, you're not such a traditional tight end. You're just a pass catcher. Yeah. Pitt's obviously a much better fit than that than Freiermuth. But I think right now you guys just need offense. Like, you just need people on offense who can either clean things up front or who can go make plays.
I think offensive line is just the safest way to go. Like, it's the least risk averse, right? What do you think, Emron? Like, not Kyle Trask. I think we're all in agreement. Not Kyle Trask.
Yeah, I think like Matt mentioned, he's just not a good fit for that offense. Just like Foles, like it's just not a good fit. And I think O-line would make a lot of sense. You know, they got a little bit sturdier when they, you know, took out Rashad Coward and put in Bars and Mustapher, but it's just a small sample size. But tackle, I think that's been a need for a while for them. And then it just depends on if they can convince Allen Robinson to stay. Because if he leaves, you know, unfortunately, Anthony Miller, right, he hasn't really developed as we had hoped as a receiver. Darnell Mooney was an awesome surprise from the 5th round this year. Yeah. If the quarterback could deliver him the ball, he would have had a lot more big plays. But I think it's also going to be those two positions, and I think that's also going to, I think, be dictated by what they do in free agency and potential trades, even if it's not for, like I said, I don't think it's going to be Watson, but I just have a feeling they'll bring in some veteran, because at their end of the season presser yesterday, they just kept harping on the quarterback position, which they can't seem to get right, but at least they know they can't get it right. At least they acknowledge it, right? That's the first step.
Yeah. I don't know if that's better. I'm not the general manager of the 49ers, but I would gladly trade you Jimmy Garoppolo if we can get Ryan Pace and John Lynch on the phone. It'd be an upgrade for you guys.
Not the worst thing.
I don't hate it. I was going to say, Matt, usually when Lynch gets on the phone with Pace, it doesn't end well for us. So
it doesn't end well for anyone. It doesn't end well for anyone when that happens, guys. It wasn't just you. It was everybody. So.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So, Matt, what are your, kind of switching gears for this weekend? Like, who do you think is going to happen this weekend? Do you like the favorites this week? Do you like what's the first game this weekend? You think the Rams have a shot in Green Bay?
No, I don't. And I wish they did, because I love their defense. I just did some radio and I said the only way the Packers lose is if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. I just think, 32 snowy and Jared Goff having one good hand and it's not his throwing hand. That's not a situation you want to be in. Cam Akers would have to rush for over 200 yards for them to win. So I hate picking the favorites. It's so boring, but at this time of year, like you want to be right, not catchy. And I think the favorites make sense. I mean, and really the home teams make sense outside of Tampa going to New Orleans. I do like the Bucs in that game. Mm-hmm. I think Ravens Bills is going to be a really tough game. That's going to be a fun one. The Browns in Kansas City, unfortunately, I just don't think the Browns can score enough to take down that Chiefs offense. But I do think, the 3 games after, Rams Packers have a chance to at least be competitive, which should give us a good weekend. Like nobody wants divisional weekend to be all blowouts. Like that's not fun for anybody. So I'm just rooting for. Normally I root for chaos. This week I'm just rooting for good games.
Right on. Who do you think lands in the Super Bowl? We got like Packers, Chiefs. You got
My preseason pick was Bucs Chiefs, so
nice.
I'm not upset with that. I think I'm going to continue to roll with it.
I like
Bucs mid-season, I was a little scared, but right now, they're playing pretty well. They seem to be healthy, which that definitely helps. And hate to see Antonio Brown having this much success, but he's doing really well out there. So I'm going to stick with that. I usually do stick with my preseason pick unless it just completely blows up in my face and you got to recalibrate. But I liked that one in August, and I'm gonna roll with it.
Well, hopefully Josh Allen doesn't play spoiler, but I like it. I think those are 2 solid picks.
I do too.
It was crazy. I love Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. So I would be fine with that. He was my guy coming out of Wyoming too, and I took a lot of heat for it. So I'm loving the vindication of him playing well.
Well done. I was gonna say, man.
And that's I think what the Bills did with him is just a textbook example of how to support your young quarterback. Keep him in the same offense, not give up on him, give him the weapons, develop around him, and he made that gradual progression. I remember I was reading his jump in completion percentage was the biggest in NFL history. He went from 52 to 58, almost 70. And he's just playing great football. So I'm hoping the Bucs can upset the Packers because I think it's really Tampa is probably the only team I see in the NFC that could probably go into Green Bay and win. I don't like Drew Brees out there at all. I think that would be chaos. But I think it's going to be Bills and Chiefs as well. And I'd love to see the Bills pull off the upset, but I think Chiefs are going to come out of the AFC.
I just want Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes to have a throw off on the field at Arrowhead before that game.
Oh, please.
That's all. If that's the AFC Championship, listen, we've all had a really rough year. I need that to happen. That's all I need.
See who can go end zone to end zone. One of them probably
let's see. Let's just settle the debate once and for all.
Who's got the strongest arm? I think Justin, I just had one more thing for Matt. Did you have anything?
No, I was just gonna kind of jump into just how we kind of relate to what Matt's doing right now. We're just kind of getting off the ground ourselves here. We just kind of want to ask you, what advice do you have for us? We're a brand that's 6 to 8 months years old. We're consistent. We're always doing our thing, but best practices, best advice you have, for a young brand trying to come up in the sports content world.
Exactly.
I think what you guys are doing is the best thing. Just work every day, be consistent, be something that people, if you're coming out on Fridays, always coming out Fridays. Even if it's not your full-time job, you have to treat it like one. I think that was something that helped me out early on at Bleacher Report. Even when I was an unpaid writer, I treated it like my full-time job. I didn't say no to assignments, and I tried to interact with people in the space who were, above me, and that I could learn from, but also that my interactions with them would show that I was credible, that I knew what I was talking about. And, there were a lot of people who helped me out. People like Peter King, Adam Schefter, they treated me with so much kindness and elevated my voice. And so that's the thing that I'm excited about with this new platform is being able to turn around and do that myself and try to help people climb the ladder because it is not easy to do by yourself. And I think anyone who's worked in this industry definitely knows that.
Oh yeah, it's a daily grind for us. Everything you just spoke to. That's the trials and tribulations that we're rolling through here. On the regular. But you coming on with us and kind of giving us a little bit of that leverage ourselves. So we're very excited to kind of move forward here and very, very grateful to have had you on here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Best luck and let me know if there's anything I can do.
Absolutely. Looking forward to, checking out your stuff at draftscout.com. And I have my reminder set for tomorrow. I want to make sure I can claim the Bears. And
there you go.
At least somebody can make a correct pick this year, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in there too, Matt. You kind of got me a little bit. I went to the website And I was like, man, this dude wants $70 right now. I was like, man, right away. I was like, Emron told me, he's like, no, you didn't read the fine print. You can go monthly. So I was like,
$7, man.
I'm gonna dig back in. I'm gonna get on there.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Have a good one.
See you.
Take care. Be well. All right, that was awesome having Matt on. All you guys that are still watching, be sure to go check out his website, thedraftscout.com, and follow him on Twitter at NFL Draft Scout. All right, Emron, let's get back into our picks a little bit more here. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the lines. Obviously, we just kind of gave some of our picks, obviously, for like the Super Bowl, who we have moving on. But let's really dive into the value for this weekend. You just want to jump into your picks for the week, and we can kind of take it from there.
Yeah. So we'll just start off in order. Like I know we went high level with Matt, but we can kind of get more into the minutia. So, first off with Rams and Packers, kind of like we just said, currently we have the game is at 6.5, so the spread Packers, and we got the money line set at 312 for this game. Packers minus 312 and plus 270 for the Rams, and then the spread overall is at not the spread, the over under set at 45.5. So first blush at this, I'm going with the under. The Packers defense is better than the Seahawks defense. Not great by any means, but I'd say it's above average. Like it's definitely like top 12-ish area. And it's just an immobile quarterback that's already hampered. It's just a recipe for success for the Packers, but disaster for the Rams. So I think the Packers will definitely cover a touchdown here. I don't see the Rams offense mustard much, so I'm taking under 45.5 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under 45.5. What did I just see here? The 4 of 5 last games for the Rams, they've all gone to the under. And I think that's just the trend of their offense right now. Like they're really finding their identity on the ground with Cam Akers, and I think he's going to get leaned on a ton. If you look at the props for this weekend, he's actually ranked second for most likely to finish with the most rushing yards this week behind Alvin Kamara. And I think that says a lot with names on the board like Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb. The next one is any Bucs player. They're not giving any clues. Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, et cetera, right? Like these guys have been great this year, and they're giving Cam Akers the nod. They're saying like, hey, odds favorite. He's the second highest guy to be collecting the most yards this weekend. So I feel like that's just the identity of the Rams right now. Pound the ball into the ground, try to play keep away with some of these talented offenses, and that's going to be their most competitive advantage to try and win this game. I'm not picking them to win. I do believe that the Packers win. I think the Rams can cover still the 6.5. So I'll take the Rams to cover the 6.5, minus 305 for the Packers in the money line, and give me the under the 45.5 as well. I just think the Packers, top to bottom, they're just a better team still. Offense and defense combined, they're total squad. They're it. Like I said, they're my pick to go to the Super Bowl. Not my early pick all year, but about November.
And it's just just to get off my Packers hater bandwagon before we went on the game. It's just things always just set up perfectly for Aaron Rodgers, don't they? Yeah. He gets the first round bye. I mean, granted, they earned the first round bye, right? They had a great year, went 13-3, but they face instead of facing the Seahawks at full strength, Seattle can't get their shit together. They play the Rams, who are extremely hobbled to say the least. They have a good defense, but it's probably the most favorable matchup the Packers could have expected for. So,
it could have been easier for the Packers. They could have had, Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson on this roster. Absolutely crazy. It's just wild to me that they were able to do all of this with pretty much wasting their first 2 picks in the draft.
First 3, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane. They took, it's just, and someone's made the argument on Twitter that Jordan Love should be Rookie of the Year. His draft selection pissed off Aaron Rodgers to have a career year. I was like, they said, find me a player that did more for his team. I was like, I can't really argue that. I was like,
it's such a tough class. Let's just give it to him.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see with this game. This is definitely the game this weekend that I feel, even though the line doesn't say it, I feel like this is the biggest mismatch this weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on to a closer one. What do you got for the Ravens and the Bills?
Yeah, this is the game I'm probably looking forward to the most this weekend, right after Bucs and Saints, which closes Saturday night. So we got the Ravens going to Buffalo, right? Ravens got a big win, finally exercised those demons against the Titans who have owned them. So
demons.
Yeah, so we're opening this game up at 49.5 for the spread. That is the third highest spread out of the weekend, actually. So 49.5 is your spread. Total. The over under spread, we're at 2.5. It stayed pretty steady. the last couple of days. So you have the Ravens are 2.5-point underdogs on the road. The Bills are being 2.5 favorites at home. That's always a key number if it's under 3, right? And usually traditional say going with the home team is the smart play there in a close match. Money line, you got the Ravens at plus 123 and the Bills are at minus 141. So for me, I think the Bills are going to win outright. I think they can cover the 2.5. I think this looks like a field goal game to me. Would not be surprised if it went to overtime. But I think the theme in this game, I think what we're going to see is what we've seen all year for the Ravens. They need that number one receiver, right? That's just a glaring need. Anytime they take a step up, not even a step up, they play a team of equal level, right? That's what always shows up and I don't blame Lamar completely. It's just he's got receivers that are 2s and 3s, right? They don't have that alpha. They have these guys that are playing outside of their roles, and I think that's what's going to happen here. And the Ravens have a good defense, but Bills, man, they're just stacked, man, at every level, and they have a mobile quarterback too. So I think that's going to cause some problems. So I'm going to actually take the over. I think we can hit 50 in this game. I'll take the Bills to cover.
I'm going to stay away from the cover, man. I'm going to stay away from the spread. Those 2.5 points are scary to me in this game because it's a field goal game. I agree with you, but that field goal could be a 1-point game either way. I don't like that number. I
think money line at this point, it's not the value's not that much different.
Right, exactly. And looking just at picking your winner, like if you're on the Ravens, like there's some value here for the Ravens. This is the number 1 rushing offense in the league. The Bills are the 21st rushing defense. There's some value here. Like if I pretty much give it the same formula to beat the Titans, except for they didn't use my formula. I said the Ravens, they need to go up on the Titans to try and play keep away with Derrick Henry. They were just like, nah, screw you, Bruni. We're just going to beat the brakes off this dude. 18 carries for 40 yards. No, we got this. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case this week. Like they're going to be able to shut down Josh Allen's running ability, but I do think that they can take away the ground away from the Bills, and I do think that they can play some keep away here. So yeah, give me last possession winner. So if you're on the Ravens, you just take the money line. If you're on the Bills, you just take the money line because you're talking about like what 0.30 on the value here. Like just parlay it with something. Yeah. Right? Like just plug it in with something else.
How do you feel about the total?
49.5 is a bit tall, but I agree with you. I think they go over here on the last possession. I feel like that's going to be the most important drive of the game. Whoever has the last ball is going to win, or the ball last is going to win. I'm sorry. I think
that's what I see. I see it being like 24-24, somebody going last field goal, something like that. I think high 20s.
I think early in this game, you're going to see the Ravens like really playing with the clock, and people are going to be asking like, this is still early to be kind of playing clock control, But I feel like that's going to be their bag in this game because they need to keep Josh Allen off the field. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are right there with Mahomes and Hill or Mahomes, Kelce, whatever the deadliest combination. If you want to throw Aaron Rodgers and Adams in there, whatever, they're one of those top duos in the league, and you need to take them away. That's the next thing. The Ravens have a good secondary. They have Humphreys back there. They have a couple of guys that can, I'm not going to say lock him out. That's too strong of a language to use up against Stephon Diggs, but slow him down is definitely in the wheelhouse this week. I feel like Allen's going to need to lean on some of his other weapons, which we've seen him do, right? The Beasleys, the Isaiah McKenzies, these other guys, these role players have really stepped up. It's really tough for me to pick this winner, but I got to go with the Bills. They've put a better product on the field all year long. And maybe I'm going to bite myself in the ass this weekend for making that call because the Ravens, man, they're 7-0 in their last 7 games. Albeit those opponents aren't very good except for the Titans, but they're still rolling. They've got it.
They are rolling, and so but they are playing a team that's also rolling, right? The Bills are the Kyler Hail Murray, if you will, away from being on a 10-game winning streak.
Yep, exactly.
And that was like of the flukus games, right? So I think one of the things Josh Allen's going to need to do to keep this game in front of him this week, he's got to play smart. Marcus Peters is one of the best ball hawks in the league. He always finds a way to get the ball. So any of those errant passes or risky throws, I think you will see an interception or two from Josh Allen this week. He's an aggressive quarterback, but I think Ravens have an opportunistic defense. I think that'll also help them keep it in the game.
Yeah, I really believe that's going to be the most competitive game on the board this weekend. Like we're talking, like it's going to be last possession, right? So going to be a very exciting game, but I am staying away from that spread unless maybe I can get like +3 for the Ravens. Maybe I just buy that up, and I'll feel a little bit more comfortable with that maybe. Just because they can lose by that, that full stretch of the field goal. So I would take them +3.
All right, so well, that's wraps up for Saturday's game. So moving over to Sunday, and the early game on Sunday, which is an interesting setup. The first Sunday game is actually at 3:05. I thought it'd be at 1, but
Right.
so we got the Chiefs and the
Browns.
Browns. So the Bucs think this is the biggest mismatch of the weekend. Chiefs are opening up at minus 476 on the money line. Nearly 500. Yeah, and then the Browns are plus 390.
That's a lot.
And then it is. And so this game does feature the biggest over-under of the weekend is what? At a 57. And then for the spread, we're at plus, it's still steady at plus 10.
Okay. I don't like that. I kind of like the Browns at plus 10, especially with their running attack. Kansas City, they're good on defense. They've been solid, but they're 20th up against the run. Cleveland's third in the league in rushing yards. Again, another team that has some value here that can leverage their game plan, especially with the combination of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I mean, obviously we saw it last week. They just monstered the Steelers. I don't even know what else to call it. It's just ridiculous. I already used beat off the brakes, whatever. So I'm trying to go elsewhere. But I really don't know what to expect from Cleveland in this game. I don't expect them to win, but I feel like they can cover. I feel like they can cover. What do you think about the total here? Total's a little high for me for a team.
It's really high because I think Cleveland, although they dropped like 45 last week, I think that was a strange game, right, with a lot of turnovers that helped fuel that number. I'm going to go under here. I think it's going to be high scoring, but 57 is quite a bit with the Chiefs. Yeah. I think the Browns are going to have to get into the 20s to make this possible. They have a decent defense, right? They got Myles Garrett. I just think the way the Browns are going to play it, they're going to try to do the formula you just mentioned for the Ravens. They're going to try to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Hopefully they leverage Chubb and Hunt. They do get Stefanski back this week and Joe Paterno. But I just think the Chiefs are, I think, a better team. But I think that the Chiefs are going to win. I think I'm going to take the under. And I will also take the Browns at plus 10 because I think 10 is a lot. But as we found out last week in that Bears game, you got to remember at the end of the game, if it's a hook, they don't have to. In the playoff games, if there's a score on the last play of the game, you don't have to kick the extra point.
Well.
The folks that were, I had the Bears in a teaser, so I had them plus 16, so I didn't care after the touchdown. But the spread was plus 10 or plus. I think it had actually closed at plus 11. So the extra point, obviously, which 99% of the time they kick, would have done it. So I was like, I was watching the games like backdoor cover, and then I was like, why is the game over? Like, what's going on here? So just keep in mind for that. But I think plus 10 is too low, so I can see a late cover by the Browns on this.
Yeah, I feel like the number is too big, but also keep in mind the Browns are not a great team on the spread. They're 4-8 in their last 12 games against the spread, and for the season they are 7-10. So it's traditional that they don't cover the spread, for following the trends. And I've said all year, like, this is just not a team that I ever bet to cover. But I feel like they can do it this week in a playoff game. Kind of speaking to the total as well, a 10-point spread with a 57.5-point total, I don't like that. That's a mismatch to me. If this game was a little bit tighter, 4 or 5 points, and they had posted a 56 or 57, I might be more inclined to take the over. But because those numbers are just so mismatched to me, it doesn't necessarily signal an overly competitive game. Like you just said, like the Browns can cover on, a late score, maybe they try to onside kick it after that, don't get it back, game over, right? But they cover, so I'm going to take the Browns to cover still. I don't feel great about it though. It's not like a high confidence pick. To me, I like parlaying the Chiefs to win money line with the under. I feel like you can get some respectable value there. Obviously, the books are, they're holding some of that back because they want us to bet somewhere else. They don't want us to just bet on the Chiefs straight up, and that's why they're giving us this shitty line. I'm seeing minus 475 here at Bet Online AG. What were you getting?
You said you got minus what?
475.
So minus 475. I use this website called The Lines, which looks at multiple sports books. So DraftKings is giving you minus 476. William Hill's minus 500. FanDuel minus 490. PointsBet's 490. Unibet, geez, they aren't giving you shit. Minus 530.
They're just not letting us even make this pick. They're just taking away all the value. So I really don't like that. If I'm going to make that pick, I got to plug in something else. And that's what they want us to do. That's exactly what the books are trying to push us. So, but I feel comfortable about the under. Like I said, I feel very good about that.
Yeah. And so one of the things I've been doing, and I almost hit this last week, but the Steelers didn't fucking win. I should have just That's the 1 week I should have bet on the Browns, right? So I did a 6-point teaser of all the games, and I hit everything except I just need the Steelers to win because they were 6-point favorites.
Mhm.
But I'd probably do a 6-point teaser this week, right? Real quick. Actually, I'll talk about that after this Bucs game on what my betting advice would be, just to kind of, like we always mention all season long, right? When you get into those once you get over minus 300, the books are taking away the value for you, right? They don't want you to bet it, or if you do bet it, you're not getting shit for it.
Exactly.
So let's do this last game, then I'll kind of some things that work for me that I think could give you a chance to make a little bit of money this weekend. So last game, this is going to be a pretty competitive one as well. So we got the Bucs going into New Orleans, right? The Bucs and Saints are divisional rivals, so they've already played twice this year.
Mm-hmm.
Bucs have lost both games, and they weren't really that close. They got their ass kicked both times.
Right.
That was one of those games. And these were the games when people look at the Bucs and like, all right, they're not for real. There's no way, right, that they can do anything if they can't even beat the Saints. So spread, this one is a +3 for the Bucs, right? And Saints are 3-point favorites at home.
Yep.
Money line's pretty close. Bucs are a +155. Saints are -175.
Mm-hmm.
The spread at this one sits at the over/under for this one sits at 51.5.
I got 52 at Bet Online, but
that's what I was going to say. So I looked at this one, 52 at FanDuel, 52 at PointsBet. So it's fluctuating depending on where you play, between 51.5 and 52. That half is a key number. As my brother found out, unfortunately, last week in the Bills and Colts game, it went from 51 to 51.5, and the half killed him. Yeah.
That's all I can really say about that. So you're feeling the Saints in this one?
No, I'm going with the Bucs. Actually, my pick this week is the Bucs. It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in one season.
Yep.
Tampa's, I think, playing some really good football right now. The Saints, man, like I know they beat our Bears, but I just feel like that was more of the Bears just having a shitty offense and not being able to do a thing, right? Not be competent.
We were going against the Saints, the referees, injuries. Yeah. It was the whole.
Yeah, there were some calls, but I think it's I wasn't really impressed with that win for the Saints. It's they struggled actually against the Bears defense quite a bit, right? I think they only scored their 14th point at the ending point of the third quarter. Bucs defense, I wouldn't say it's just as good as the Bears. It's not far off. They have a pretty solid defense, good front, good secondary. I really like their defense. So I think they'll give the Saints some problems. And their offense looks pretty good, right? They just went against a tough Washington defense as well. So with Gronk, with Cameron Brate, with Godwin, Brown, Evans, I think that's a lot for the Saints to handle. They got burned last week, against the Bears on a couple of shots here and there. Javon Williams dropped that wide open 50-yard touchdown. So there's going to be options for the Bucs, right, to get it. So I think the Bucs can. I'm going to pick them to win outright. I think they're going to do this. I think this one is going to hit the over 51.5. I think it's a really good number with these two offenses. So I think we're going to see a game high 20s. So give me the Bucs and give me the over.
Yeah, I can't disagree whatsoever, especially on the beating the same team 3 times in a season. The Bucs are still a different team since their last go-around. They've improved a lot. We mentioned earlier in the show about Antonio Brown really coming on. It's kind of distasteful, but it's happening, right? They've got him rolling. Mike Evans, we all thought, like, well, that's his season, right? Nope, comes back, puts on a brilliant performance. He's going to be locked and ready to go. I like the Bucs. Give me them to cover if you want to be a little bit safer at the +3. I like that. I like them as just a straight up winner at +145. And if you're at 51.5, I like that more than 52. So I'll take that. But I'd like to buy that down a point or so. I do feel like there's a lot of defense left in this game. The Bucs have one of the best rushing defenses up front. They rank first in rushing yards against. And New Orleans, they rank third. So I don't plan to see a ton of running in this game. I do expect to see a lot of Kamara still, Mike Thomas and whatnot. But, the Bucs defense in the secondary, it's not brilliant, 21st in the league up against the pass. But I do feel like, Tom Brady playing right now, trying to get to another Super Bowl. I just feel like it's not going to go Breeze's way. And I don't like his arm right now. I don't feel like he's going to be able to pass downfield with the same type of efficiency that he was up against the Bears. Mike Thomas was creating some, just really spotty moments of separation and really just, kind of burying the Bears, just chunk play after chunk play. I don't think that's going to necessarily be there this week up against the Buccaneers. I think things are going to be a little bit tighter. And I think that the Buccaneers, kind of how you mentioned, are similar to the Bears. Yeah, on defense for sure. Like our secondary, not very good. Right. Up front, we're solid. But they have Tom Brady in the Bucs offense. So give me the Bucs. I'll take them all day in this one. I just really haven't been on the Saints in general. Like I had the Bears covering that last game. Whatever. Can't kick Pats apparently. dumb. I don't get it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was a bad beat, man. That was just some bullshit.
Yeah, and then of course, the Wims drop and all this other stuff. Miller getting ejected, the Cole Kmet penalty. Like, I'm not going to dive too much deeper than that. That was all very surface level stuff. That was, emotional enough, right?
Yep.
So give me the Bucs to win here. I'll take them to cover, and the total. Man, I feel like that hook, that half there is going to be hurting me. I like over 50. I like over 51. Beyond that, I feel like we're getting a little greedy. I feel like we're trying to steal some money.
Yeah, I think so. And so, I did Bucs in the over myself. So I think one of the things I wanted to mention that I wanted to wait till after we finish with this one was if you're not familiar, with doing teasers, I think that's a way to kind of take advantage of some of these, like Justin mentioned earlier, of these big spreads that you see where the values kind of like, it may kind of scare you. Or I don't think this will happen. Like, for example, let's do the Chiefs, right? Chiefs -10, you're kind of antsy. -4, you'd probably take, right? Yeah, because the Chiefs are going to win by that much, if your opinion is that. So what I would do, like what I probably might play this weekend, is start off with the Rams game. I would probably I would tease the Packers, and if you're not familiar with teasing, that basically take a point denomination. For this example, it'd be 6 points, right? And it's 6 points in your favor. So, for example, for the Packers, a 6-point teaser would mean instead of being 6.5-point favorites, they'd be a 0.5 favorite, aka they're going to win the game, right? So I'd probably do that. Tease the Packers, tease the Bills, and so the Bills will be 3.5-point underdogs in that, and then the Chiefs will be -4, Bucs will be -9. I love those odds. The odds on that I don't know, but I mean I think on a $20 bet on those 4 games parlayed together, you make a little bit of money there.
Oh yeah.
And same thing with the totals. If you do that, like for going over to the totals, the Packers 45.5. I would tease that. I would tease the under, so the under would be 51.5. The over in the Bills game, that'd be 43.5. The Browns game, I'd tease the under, so that would be 63. And then for the Bucs and Saints, tease that would make it 45.5. So those are numbers I like. Obviously, the odds change when you tease something, but if you're coupling it together with four games and 4 outcomes, it helps out a little bit. So you have a better probability. But always something happens, right? As it does with any multiple bet parlay.
Exactly.
Something that you don't expect to happen, like watch the fucking Browns win this week again, and we're just like, what the fuck happened?
Stop speaking that into existence. Don't do that. Damn it. I mean, I wasn't angry with the Browns. I picked the Steelers to win last week, but I didn't put my money on it. I was just like, I just don't see how they can. Like, they barely beat them the week before with backups. Like, it just wasn't there, But we didn't look close enough. We missed something, or maybe a lot. I don't know. But
it was funny. The only person in our household that hit their parlay last weekend was my sister. She, I was explaining her strategy to Sarah, was that she $20 to win 500. She picked every game correctly, and so I was explaining her strategy to Sarah. So I was like, it sounds very commonsensical. She picked the games, and then she subbed out a couple of games where she was like, I think actually the Ravens winning. So let me do a parlay with the Ravens winning, and let me do a parlay with the Browns winning. I was like, well, you're gonna lose some money. It's like, yeah, but it's $20, and I'm probably gonna win. Whatever. And then, like, lo and behold, it's 28-0 for the Browns in the first quarter. I'm like, all right, you got me, man. I think she's 2 out of 3 for this kind of parlays. I think she's up like $550, but it's very commonsensical. It's just like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
She's a fan of the show, probably. What are you gonna do? She's hiding behind one of these viewers here, She's taking notes. So are we both in agreement? Packers Chiefs Super Bowl. Is that both our Super Bowl picks?
It hurts to say, but I think so. I think I don't think it's a foregone. I don't think it's I think that's what, if I had to bet, I'd bet there. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion because I think the Bills are very good. The Raiders kind of showed that recipe for beating the Chiefs. Is you got to be able to score with them, and I think the Bills can do it. And Bills have the potential to do it, and I think their defense is okay enough where they could cause a little bit of problems for Pat Mahomes. And then for the Packers, I think the Packers are going to handle the Rams. I don't think the Saints can go into Lambeau and win. I think the Packers might actually win that by double digits. The Bucs can beat them. The Bucs beat them pretty handily earlier in this year. Bucs were down 10-0. Outscored the Packers 38-0 the rest of the game. So I think the Bucs can do it. Bucs have a good formula of just beating the shit out of Aaron Rodgers. Tom is no stranger to playing in the snow. That's not going to bother him at all.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of weapons, so And then, we never got a Rodgers-Brady, Super Bowl. I'll take an NFC Championship.
Yeah, not bad. I'll take it. I think that is going to be the matchup for sure. As we just picked, the Bucs to beat the Saints and the Packers to beat the Rams. I do think that'll be the matchup. I think that A-Rod's going to get his revenge though. I think he's gonna use that big brain of his. He's not going to be celebrating in the end zone, on his first touchdown of the game again. He's not going to be humping the air doing, what was it, the McWiggle or something?
Whatever that weak ass shit was. It's funny that I say this every week. If he was on any other team, I would love Aaron Rodgers. He's such a likable guy, especially on Pat McAfee's show. Shout out Pat McAfee. But he's a Packer, so fuck him. But he's got a pretty bad record in NFC Championship games. I think he's like 1-4, 1-3. Not good. Not great.
Not great. I'm going to take the Packers just because kind of similar to like what Matt was talking about earlier, just kind of riding with that pick. I've been saying since like early November, this team's playing great football, solid defense. Aaron Rodgers is playing some of the best football we've seen with very little behind him. I mean, Aaron Jones isn't the same Aaron Jones we saw last year, the year before even. So I'm excited to see that matchup. Let's jump into some of the props for this weekend here, not just like individual player props, but some of the ones that are
posted. These are fun.
betonline.ag. These are pretty fun, just going over some of these here, and then we'll close out the show. Who do you think has the highest passing yards total this week? Just running down the list in order of odd favorites. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Lamar.
I'm going to go – you got to go with a surprise one for this one. Let's say Baker Mayfield.
Okay. Plus 900.
They're going to be trailing. And he's going to have the opportunities. And he's actually been playing good football. I think it's going to be him because I think Mahomes is going to get sat down early because they might get ahead by a lot.
Sure.
I think it's going to be him.
Okay. I'm gonna go Josh Allen. He's at plus 375, tied with Aaron Rodgers at 2 at plus 375. Mahomes is at plus 180, the favorite. I think Allen, kind of like you mentioned, you might throw a pick, maybe even 2, maybe even early in the game. Maybe they actually have to play down 7, play down 10. Because to me, that was the formula to beat the Titans. The Ravens didn't want to listen to that protocol. They wanted to do their own thing and come back from being 10 down. But, this is a game where Ravens get the ball first. If they can go up 7 and put Josh Allen in the hot seat early on, you might see him try to throttle the numbers here. And realistically, where's the running game coming from?
Yeah.
Probably Josh Allen, and if not, the passing game. So I'll take Josh Allen at plus 375. I like that value, and I love Baker Mayfield at plus 900. If that dude hits plus 900, that's the payout, baby. That's it, because it ain't going to be Jared Goff in the snow, and it ain't going to be Lamar Jackson with his legs. So those guys are not going to hit it. So I do like Baker Mayfield over Drew Brees as well. So that's not a bad pick. I like it. Can one team this weekend score over 39.5 points?
Chiefs. Yep.
Chiefs. Okay. Earlier we talked about this. I said the Bills, so I'm riding up with that a little bit. Here's a really deep one. I'm not going to go through all the options here, and you can also just like pop up anybody, and I'll tell you if they're on the list. But most receiving yards in this round, I'm going to give you the top 5. Now I'll give you the top 6 because it goes like plus 1,000. So Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans at plus 1,000. Who do you like? Or anyone else? The field.
Who's the biggest favorite?
The biggest favorite is Devontae Adams at plus 400, and Stephon Diggs is at plus 500, just a smidge behind.
I don't like Adams. Ramsey, him and Ramsey is going to be fun to watch.
Agreed.
Really fun to watch,
but probably not the guy that's going to like.
No, I don't think he's in the. There's no value there. Sammy Watkins.
I don't know if he's practicing right now, bud, but
is he? Oh, McCole Hardman.
Yeah, let's go. There it is.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins. I tricked myself.
Plus 5,000, Mecole Hardman, last on the list. I didn't even give you the name. Write the name down, guys. Mecole Hardman plus 5,000.
Because with these, I think if you're thinking of the obvious ones, Tyreek Hill is just, if you're a defensive coordinator, he makes you shit your pants, right? Like it's just any play. Like it's just scary, right? So I think he doesn't need volume, right? He could get 200 in a couple catches. We've seen him do it, right? Ask the Saints. Or was it the Bucs? No, it was the Bucs. It was the Bucs who was tortured.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were.
Yeah, where it was like 3 catches for 300 yards. But so I think Tyreek Hill will be my favorite. I think it's going to be the Chiefs because I think that Packers game, I don't see it happening there for either side, right? The Packers have Jair Alexander on the other side. Diggs, for you to get the over, you're going to have a little bit of big play potential. I think Diggs is going to get a ton of catches. He's probably going to have like a 7 for 80 game. I don't think he's going to break it because you're basically looking for a guy that can break 150 to 200, right?
Yep.
It's going to be Hill or Hardman because Hardman's a very similar mode, right? He's Tyreek Hill light. I'm not forgetting it.
I'll toss mine in. I'm going to go Travis Kelce. I'm gonna say I'm going to stay in the same game. I don't really think that the Browns linebackers are going to be able to keep up with him. I mean, they're going to have to make a choice with Denzel Ward. Like, where are we going to put him? Are we put him on Tyreek Hill? Or are we going to put him on?
All right, it's just pick your poison. How do you want to
die? Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be Kelce because of obviously the lack of burnage.
Yeah, it's basically you come into that game like, all right, you're going to give up 200. Do you want to give it up to Kelce in 10 catches or to Hill in 4? Right?
Exactly.
The other sleeper I was going to say, Justin, Chris Godwin.
Okay. Let me see where he's at. Plus 1,400.
He's been heating up the last couple of weeks.
He has. Antonio Brown is also plus 1,400. So they're right there. And Mike Evans is just the one spot ahead of them at the plus 1,000. So I like any three of those. I like any three of them, to be honest with you.
I feel like in that game, Lattimore is going to match up with Evans. I feel like that would make the most sense. And
right.
That punk ass Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's going to get stuck with Godwin, and I think Godwin's going to manhandle him, and I hope the shit he does.
Slaps him upside the face.
Yeah, and then their secondary, then when you have like Antonio Brown. So Brown and Godwin, I like that too. It's like a sneaky one. I think that can happen.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Some really dark horses here. They've got the Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Emmanuel Sanders, Mark Andrews. I don't like any of these. Marquise Brown, Chino Hills Brown. Not loving that. Cooper Kupp, he's banged up plus 1,800. Robert Woods, no, not happening in the snow with Goff's bad thumb. I like Chiefs. Maybe even the Stephon Diggs. Maybe throwing a Bills player. You never know. I picked Allen to throw for the most yards, so it's always a plausibility. Stephon Diggs is at plus 500 though. He's like the second option. Not sexy, right? We want the value. We want the big bucks. Let's go over to the most rushing yards this week. Like I mentioned earlier, Cam Akers is number 2 at plus 500.
He's going to probably get the most volume.
Right, like the most carries. The most carries.
But if you and me know that, I'm assuming Mike Pettin and the Packers know that too.
That's true. Lamar Jackson is 3rd on the list at plus 500. Can he hit it?
Most rushing yards?
This weekend, yeah. Most rushing yards of anyone. Running back, quarterback, whatever.
I'll go back to the same thing I said for Akers. The volume's going to be there.
Yeah.
Between designed runs and breakaway. And I think I don't hate it. Like I would put a couple bucks on it because like you saw that big run he had against the Titans. Like, how do you plan for that? It was a passing play, 3rd and 10, and he's got that freakish speed. So I don't hate it.
See ya.
Yeah, I don't hate it. How about let me think a little oppo for you.
What do you think about J.K. Dobbins? Same matchup.
Don't hate it.
Plus 800.
Don't hate it. I can see that.
No, I like that one. They've got options on here.
Chubb?
Kind of pick your brain. Any Bucs player, any Chiefs player. That's very vague. I'm not going that direction.
Well, it gives you options, but those offenses. That's not how they're going to win that game.
Exactly.
The volume's not going to be. How about what do you got with Chubb? Chubb and Hunt.
Chubb is plus 500. Hunt is last at plus 1,200 on this list.
I would throw a couple bucks on that revenge game factor, and if the Chiefs going to have a shot in this game, they're going to have to control the clock. What I worry about though with both of those guys is if the game gets out of hand. What I'm saying out of hand, if it gets into like a 17-point game, right, 3-possession game, then they're going to get abandoned. So, but I mean, in that situation, they usually keep Hunt on the field because he's a receiving back, so he's still going to have some opportunity. So I don't mind Hunt. I put a couple bucks on Hunt and Lamar. I play on both of them.
Yeah, I like the Hunt pick just off the value. Realistically, plus 1,200. There is the revenge game factor, but I have to believe that like Nick Chubb is just going to be the central focal point for that offense still. Because the best way to, like we mentioned, to beat Josh Allen, keep the ball away from him. Same thing for Mahomes, right? If Hunt and Chubb are rolling, they've got the engines cooking. They can keep the ball in the field and play some solid keep away. Don't think it's going to happen. Not betting on it to happen, but if Kareem Hunt's going to hit that prop, that's what it's going to be. That's exactly what's going to happen. So. I'll throw you a couple random ones here, and then we'll close it out. Sure. Any of these games going to overtime this weekend? Any overtime games?
Yes, I think the Ravens-Bills has a shot, and I think the Saints and Bucs has a shot.
Paying plus 250 for the yes.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll put 20 on that.
Fuck it. Successful onside kick, minus 900 to the no.
What's the yes?
Plus 500. It's pretty solid for an onside kick.
$5 on that.
Desperation week, you know?
Yeah, somebody's trying to come back. I want to see that happening.
Will a wild card team win the Super Bowl?
That would be the Browns or the Rams, right? Browns, Rams. What do you mean by wild card team? So I guess the denominator. Okay, so it would be a team that was the 5th, 6th, or 7th seed. So you got the Ravens, Rams, Bucs. So Bucs would be your best shot at it. Bucs or Ravens.
To win it though, I still don't see it.
That would be your best shot at it.
I don't see him beating Allen or Mahomes still.
But so what about Tampa?
What's that?
What about Tampa? I think Tampa would be your realistic one then, because they're 5th seed. That's a wild card team.
I thought you were saying because the game is in Tampa. Sorry, no, I'm still going to take if the Bucs make it to the Super Bowl, I'm still picking Allen and the Chiefs to win. So this bet is for
is the prop makes it or win it?
Win it.
Oh, win it. I thought it was makes it. Yeah, I still stand by it. I think of the teams that I think I could see, if you were to tell me one of them won, it would be the Bucs, in my opinion. I just think the Ravens' offense is going to catch up to them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see, one last one. Any team scores a defensive or a special team touchdown this weekend? It's pretty easy, right?
I feel like the Packers are going to get like a pick six or a Jared Goff fumble. I just have that image in my head.
Yeah, yes is paying minus 300, so everyone's with it. I would like,
minus 300. They think it's going to happen. Oh wow, I thought it'd be plus money. Okay.
No, they're on it. That's why I'm like, man,
wow.
can I parlay one of these? Like, can I parlay that with a successful onside kick? Like,
yeah,
sweet, right? That's some solid value. Minus 300 with the plus 5. I'll take that. I'll take it. I don't hate that. They'll give me something for it.
Right.
All right, cool. Well, you got anything to close down the show with, man?
No, once again, thanks to Matt Miller for joining us, making some time for us. Really excited for his new project. Hopefully, I can be the Bears GM in his mock draft coming up.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. Looking forward to this week's games, man. I think I've said this a couple times throughout the season. Really excited for all the great things you're doing at Ticket to the Hizzy, and for the football season. After everything we thought went through last year, coming into the summer and the fall, not thinking we might have football. It's going to get canceled. All these outbreaks. We're getting into the divisional round now. Knock on wood. Mm-hmm. And it's been great, right, to get that taste of normal back. So looking forward to this weekend. Looking for some great games. Monday's a holiday for at least where I work, so 3-day weekend's always nice. Get to enjoy some football. What about you?
Yeah. I'll be coming back on Sunday night, so I'll be getting back to Maryland. If people that didn't know, I'm in Illinois right now. I'll be getting back to Maryland. Was it late Sunday night? Like I'll probably get home at like 11:30 midnight, some crazy shit like that. So I'll be working Monday, but I'll be working from home. Because I want to be tired. I'm gonna be tired.
Yeah.
Just want to thank Matt Miller for coming back on. If you're watching, Matt, really appreciative of you joining with us today, jumping into that draft talk, and giving us some solid advice on moving forward. If you guys missed out, be sure to go to check out his website, thedraftscout.com, and to follow him on Twitter at NFL Draft Scout, Matt Miller. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Take care. Be well. We'll see you next time. Later.